Hey everyone, welcome back. So glad you're here. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a cute little taggy blanket for a baby gift. I am using some minky fabric, getting into my scraps. So just keep in mind whenever you're sewing and making projects, sometimes to keep those scraps. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to do with them, and you hold on to them, but this one is a great project, kind of a scrap buster project. So I have used this for part of a blanket, and the shape that I needed just allowed for some extra. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know how wide this is. So the piece that I have is 12 inches, which is absolutely perfect. The taggy blankets, I like to, you can make them any size that you really want to. Probably a typical is going to be between a 10-inch to a 12-inch square. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just cut off this selvage edge. I don't want to include that in my measurement, even though it will be sewn to the inside, but we'll just go ahead and get rid of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, let's see, scoot this over a little bit. It's starting to roll on me. And I'll lay my ruler. This is a really nice quilting ruler. They're nice and thick, so you can use your rotary cutter right up against it. So even if you don't quilt, these rulers are actually pretty handy. So I've got my 12-inch mark right here. I'm just going to use my scissors and kind of cut up to that line. Then I can rotary cut the rest up against it. And then I'm going to lay this on top of the other piece to cut the second piece. Let's cut this. Okay, put that to the side. Okay, so I have two pieces now that are both 12 by 12 square. The other thing you are going to need is some ribbon. Now I just have some cute little yellow and white polka dot. You can get really creative with your ribbons to create your tags. So you can use grosgrain ribbon or satin ribbon. I kind of like this little 1-inch ribbon. If you want to use a skinny ribbon, I don't think I would use the big fat 2-inch, like maybe an 1.5 inch would be really too big. So I would probably keep it in the 1-inch or smaller ribbon. And what you will need to do is you're going to cut 4-inch strips. So let me cut a few here. So if you want to use multiple colors, that just kind of jazzes it up. That's totally personal preference. If there is a theme, there's a theme to the baby room, certain colors, that kind of thing. So what I'm doing is I just cut 4-inch strips, just like this. I'm going to fold them in half. And I typically like to put 3 tags per side. I just eyeball it. If you want to get technical and measure it, I'm going to fold them in half. So I've got a nice little loop, but I want the raw edge lined up with the raw edge of the material so that my loops are facing to the inside of the blanket. Okay, so this is how we have one side. I've got 3, and then I'm just going to continue to do this around all the other sides here. Cut some more strips. Okay, I've got all my strips cut, 4-inch strips. Again, if you want to get a little funky on your tags, you can cut them different widths. You can have some long, some short. Again, it's just personal preference. So I'm folding the ribbon wrong sides together. I'm putting that raw edge of the ribbon to the raw edge of my material. And I'm just eyeballing where they need to be placed. And going around to this last side here, folding these ribbons together and getting these pinned in place. Okay, so you want to make sure that all your ribbons, the loop part is facing to the inside. And then we are going to put the right sides of the material, right sides together. That's the nice soft bumpy side is your right side. And we're going to just match up. We're going to sandwich all those little ribbons inside here. Now, I'm going to just hold on to my ribbon and use these pins that I've already got in the ribbons to pin that together. I'm not going to do every single pin. I'll probably just do the outer ones, not the center ones. Because Minky is very slippery as you sew with it. If you have never tried it, it may be a little bit difficult if this is a first-time project because it does slide. So if you have a walking foot or if your machine, like mine is the Pfaff brand, it does have a dual feed foot, which is why I love this machine. But if you have trouble with your material sliding and not staying lined up, that is probably what you will need is a walking foot or that dual feed. Okay, so everything is pinned together. So now I need to keep one side open so that we have an opening to be able to turn this right side out, and then we'll top stitch it back together. So what we're going to do is pick any side, if you have not pinned your centers, any between the two centers here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start stitching here, and then once I get to my corner, I will put the needle down and then raise the presser foot, turn so I can go down the next side. Once you get to that corner, in each of the other corners, put your needle down into the material, raise your presser foot, and then swing it around so you can go down the next side. So let's go ahead and get this over to the sewing machine. I'm just using the edge of my presser foot. I don't need a really deep seam allowance. I'm going to take a few stitches, make sure we back stitch, lock that in. Pull your pins out as you come to it. I'm going to set my machine. Some machines have a button that you can press to keep that needle down. So I'm getting about a half an inch to a quarter of an inch from the edge. And I'm going to stop and then raise the presser foot. Then I'm going to swing this material around. Let me get those little threads out of the way. And then we can continue sewing all the way around. And you want to make sure that your edges, because mine are already sliding a little bit, they are straight on the side of the machine, that one side's not hanging over longer than the other. I've got to my corner. I'm about half an inch away. My machine will, when it stops, it will raise it just a tiny bit to be able to allow you to swing that around. So if it doesn't do that, just raise your pressure foot, but as long as that needle is down in your material, that way it's still grabbing onto it. Got a ribbon getting all wonky. Make sure your ribbons aren't sliding against the material also and getting turned. You want them to keep them straight, heading into the center of the material. Okay, so I've gotten over that last ribbon. I'm going to do a little reverse stitching to lock that in. Trim my threads. Now, you have one ribbon that we have not stitched right here in the center. So if you'll just open this up and just stitch right along that so you can take your pin out. We're just stitching through one thickness. We're not closing it up. Just want to sew that one ribbon on. That's where we left the opening. Okay, so now anytime you are making a pillow or anything that's got two layers and corners, you want to take those corners and just cut off that point. So you have a nice little flat side. So I'm just taking this, I'm cutting off that point so it's nice and straight. That just reduces the bulk when you turn it so you don't have these real bulky corners and they look funky. Okay, so we're just cutting a little triangle off. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this opening. I'm going to stick my hand in here and pull that out. Stick your hand in there and push those corners out. Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors and just gently push those corners just a little bit more. Be careful not to push too hard and push a hole right through your material. So just gently, I'm just gently kind of pushing that out so it's got a nice corner. And we've removed that bulk. So there's our cute little taggy blanket. So now we want to, so these edges where our opening is, they're going to roll because we have that seam allowance. They're going to be kind of rolling in. So I'm going to make sure that the top and bottom edges are tucked in. I'm going to put a little pin here. Actually, I'm going to put 2 pins on that opening because it is slick and I don't want it to roll out. So what I will do now, make sure your ribbons kind of pull them out. Okay. I'm not only going to close this up, stitching right here, right next to these. I'm going to top stitch all the way around. That just gives it, a nice little finished look. It also helps kind of hold the blanket together, keeps those ribbons in there, a little extra security for that. So I'm going to go ahead and take this over to the machine, just stitching right on that edge. corner. I'm going to do just like I did on the inside. I'm going to leave that needle down, raise the presser foot, and then swing it around so I have a nice straight shot. My blanket's catching my pincushion. I got a ribbon. Okay, and our little Taggie blanket is finished. So now we have it all stitched around the edges. All our ribbons are in there nice and secure, super soft. So another little additional thing you could do to your blanket is personalize it. You can just embroider on it. If you wanted to embroider it before you put it together so that you didn't see the back of the stitching, you could totally do that before you started. Put it angled in the corners, really cute. If not, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If the stitching does show on the other side, still super cute. Kind of handy to have that way if they take their little blankie to daycare somewhere or whatnot, and they lay it down, which is highly possible, then they have their name on it and somebody will know whose it is. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you are looking for more in-depth sewing instructions, I do have a sewing club. It's a membership that we work on one project a month. You can find it on my website, sewcutebykatie.com. I'll put a link to it in the comments in the video. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave me a comment. Would love to hear from you. If you make some of these, I'd love to see your photos. You can find us on Facebook as well. Send me pictures. Would love to share them with others. So just let me know. And if you have any questions, I'll put the links to some of the sewing supplies that you can find on Amazon and where I purchased them. That'll also be in the description. So look for that as well. In our next video, I'm going to be working on a cute little coordinated travel pillow that's going to be made out of the Minky and some Snoopy fabric that I have because I love Snoopy. So just making fun little toddler gifts or baby gifts. And unfortunately, I don't even know anybody having a baby anytime soon. So this will probably be for sale at my store or on our Etsy shop. You can check that out on Etsy, So Cute by Katie, and I'll put the link to that too. But hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.